There was a time Igbo women had their reasons to believe they have had it all up to here from situations. There was a time Igbo women had these reasons to believe they have had it all up to here from the colonial masters back in those days, the people who cleared the road for us, for this generation. There is a time for everything under the sun. There is a time to place hand on your chest to say enough is enough. There's indeed really time for everything. And this is the time for you to find out why you need to watch this video to the end to know what happened and how they went to war. I mean these women. After this intro. Hello everyone, Ogu Emmanuel is my name. If you are new in this channel, you are highly welcome. We also welcome and give special thanks to all our returning subscribers and my esteemed viewers as well. How it all started. You know, there was once a time that it came to pass that there was a riot in the year. That year was 1929, to be precise, at Aba. It was called Aba Women's Riot, or Gomwine, in Igbo language. In IGBO, it was called Ekoneban. The year 1929 was a very serious year of social and economic unrest in the colonial Nigeria. This protest broke out during the time thousands of Igbo women from Bende district, Umuahia, and many other places in the southeastern Nigeria converged when they came together. So these women traveled from many miles to the town of Oloko. They came to protest against the warrant chiefs. You know warrant chiefs now, those people that used to represent the colonial masters in the communities or in the villages during that time. So they came to protest against the warrant chiefs for restricting the role of women in the society, for restricting the role of women in the government. You know, so introduction of new taxes, manipulations, and low prices of agricultural products during the time of that Great Depression. You know, it was what prompted that particular protest or war. So the protests consisted of various women from 6 ethnic groups: Igbo, IGBO, Andoni, Ogoni, Efik, and Ijo. The protest style. One of the major systems of fighting this colonial mentality by the women is called sitting, or sitting on a man. This system is an age-long tradition or weapon, or a kind of weapon used by women, you know, when faced with injustices in their society, when they are not okay with what is going on around them. So when men refuse to value their women, when men refuse to do what they ought to do, when men neglect their duties in the society, they risk the possibility of being shunned by women, they risk the possibility of being sat on by those who felt normalcy had to be restored within their society. Or maybe when some men decided to exceed their bounds of reasoning. That is when you see women, they will come, sit on men. So one of the other style of fighting was they will surround the home of the man in question. That is the man they want to sit on. They will surround his home, insulting his manhood and destroying any of his prized possession, anything that is important to the man. They will start scattering, they will start destroying it. Anything that they can find within, any of his prized possession, they will destroy it. So the women will sing, dance, at the same time, they will blow the contents of their grievances against him, against the man. The women will bang on his heart, hitting everywhere. They might even demolish it. They will plaster it with mud. They will plaster it with mud. So actions like this, actions like domestic abuses, or, there are some men who are very fond of abusing their wife. Anyhow, anytime. So the actions of these domestic abuses to their wives, or going against women market rules, were punishable by employing this sit on or sitting if necessary. So they will continue this practice until the man in question repents. The man must change after much pressure must have been inserted on him. The man must change. So, and he must change with the promise that he will not go back to his old ways. You're supposed to know women now. If they decide to mount pressure on you, it's only God that can save you. So they will continue the practice. The man must, by fire by force, the man must change. So these women invaded the warrant chief's house. They will go to the warrant chief's house, those representing the colonial master then. They will just be scattering things around the house. They will go to the offices. They will scatter things. Every of their moves will be followed. Their spaces will be invaded. There will be nothing like secrecy. There's nothing like maybe this is my bedroom. Nobody should go into that place. Thereby forcing the men to pay attention. They will just do anything to draw your attention to that their plight, to that their problem. They will harass the warrant officers' wives as often as possible. They will disturb her, so that they can put pressure on their husbands. So that the warrant wives will, when they get home, they will be also forcing their husbands to make a change or to consider what these women were demanding. The wives will make the warrant chiefs to listen. So even the men of the community does not intervene in this particular situation. When they have had it up to here, they don't even listen to voice of any spirit, living or dead. They don't care to know. So their flaming wrath cannot be controlled until when they are done with their plans. Sometimes you can know that. What caused the war? There must be a reason for it. So this is the beginning of everything. This is the reason why Igbo women went to war. This is the reason why the protest started. You know, it started with a disagreement between a certain woman called Wanyerowa and a man called Mark Emerowa, who was among those, you know, helping to do census in an area controlled by Okugo. The woman, this woman, Wanyerowa, is of Ngwa decency. She came from Ngwa. She's from there. She's married in Oloko. In the town of Oloko, they believe that census has a lot to do with taxation. There was a time hyperinflation was rife in their place. So during the late 1920s, women then was worried about who would come tax them. You know, it's like they had this premonition that a time will come when they will be worried to start paying taxes. So because of the situation then was very hard, there was, due to the situation. So a day came, one morning of November 18th, Emerowa came to the house of Wanyerowa. You know, he approached her, knowing fully well her husband is no more. So he commanded the widow to count all her sheep, goats, and people, that's members of the household. Hence, Wanyerowa now, you know, understood. So she understood the brain this man was using. She knew that this man came to assess her value so as to know the amount of the tax that she's worth. So in annoyance, Wanyerowa asked Okugo if his widowed mother was counted. Magos grown. So meaning that, you know, traditionally Igbo women doesn't pay tax. In the process, there was a sharp disagreement and exchange of words between the duo. Later, Wanyerowa went to town square to exchange ideas about what happened a while ago with Okugo to other women, who at the same time were at the middle of a meeting discussing the same issue Wanyerowa came there with. It's a kind of coincidence. So they were discussing the same issue that brought her to the town square. As they believed, they would also be taxed based on Wanyerowa's account. Then, what the Oloko women did was to invite other women by sending branches of cut palm oil leaves. You know, so from other areas in Bende district, Ngwa and Omoaha, more than 10,000 women gathered. They converged to protest at the office of the warrant chief. That's the office of the warrant chief, Okugo. They demanded for his resignation, for his immediate resignation, and called for his trial to commence immediately. You know women and what they can do. The Oloko Threesome. These three, Ikonia, Nwanedia, Nwugo, are the heads of the protests. Three things were found to be special about them. They are, their oratorical skills, the way they were able to carry other women along when they were talking or when they spoke, their undying passion for a change, and their intelligence is something that puts them apart from others. So whenever the protest becomes intense and somehow out of control, the above three comes in to douse the growing tensions. They are very good at keeping the situations under control. So one of their biggest challenge was when 2 women were killed in that in that process. 2 women were quiet. Why did they do that? They were quiet because they blocked the colonial roads. Those the roads where the colonial masters used to pass. Because they wanted to draw their attention to the protests. So they blocked the colonial roads in the instance immediately. So the charismatic power of these 3 could not carry the control of the protest any longer. So the thing got out of hand. Before you know it, the army, the police was sent to, to put the situation under control. They came because they need to fight back to control the situation. They need to fight back to put the women under tab. What one, were left behind. So the tempo and the non-violent nature of the protest was kept under tab by one, whose role is evidential. Age was not on her side anymore, to compare with other fellow women who led the protest. One, influenced the other protesting women with songs and dance. She will sing and they will also join in singing and dancing. So at the same time, sitting on the warrant chiefs so as to get them submit all their official insignias and authority with immediate resignation. As time progressed and the protest intensified, the other groups emerged and was geographically spreading. This protest, the thing started spreading to so many places. So many other women joined, although the protest was made a peaceful one. So there were some other groups who came to Wanyirowa for a kind of written inspirational outcome of the protest. So Wanyirowa saw these women that came as women who are not even ready to pay any tax until the world ends. And secondly, the chiefs must never exist. They don't want the warrant chiefs to exist any longer in their communities. They don't want it. Who is Madam Mary Okezie in this struggle? Who is Madam Mary Okezie in this war? The history of this women's struggle can never be said to be complete without the mention of someone like Madam Mary Okezie, who at that time happens to be a teacher at the Anglican Mission School in Umuacham, Aba, in the year 1929. That was when the women's protest broke out. Although Madam Mary Okezie is not a major participant in the revolt or the war, but she was very sympathetic to women's cause. She stood by them. Madam Mary Okezie was the first educated woman from her community. She was the only woman who submitted a memo of grievance to the then Commission of Inquiry set up in Aba in the year 1930. So it was actually this woman, Madam Mary Okezie, who was only a major source of information for studying the revolt of our Aba Commission of Inquiry. That is through her memo. It's a kind of a place that you can get a reliable source of what happened from 1929 to 1930. So later on, Madam Mary Okezie became the founder and leader of Ngwa Women's Association. She worked for the rest of the days of her life supporting women's rights in Nigeria. Some people might not understand the scale of war that took place then. It was such that the colonial authorities had never witnessed in any part of Africa before. Although the war did not take place without casualties and some collateral damages. Until the end of December 1929, when the colonial troops restored order, already 10 native courts were destroyed, and many others too were damaged. Houses of native court personnel were attacked. The European factories in Imo, Rivers, Mbosi, and Amata were looted. Prisons were attacked with prisoners released, although the response of the colonial masters was also decisive. So before the situation came under control, the lives of 50 women has already been taken. They were acquired by the colonial troops. You know what I mean by that? The colonial troops, they left in a hurry. The outcome was regarded as successfully suppressed. So as a result of this war, the position of women in the society, became great. It was improved. Some of the women became warrant chiefs. Some were appointed to serve at the native courts, and many other rights and privileges were offered to them. Finally, this is an information concerning how Southeastern women of Nigeria managed to find and stamp their food for recognition during the colonial period. Please go to our comment section. Let us know what you think about this video. And do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click like on my Facebook page. Do not forget to ring the notification bell. Share this video. It will help your next viewing experience, and it will also influence the algorithm. Bye bye.